Nobody knows who I really am. I never felt this empty before. But if I ever need someone to come along, who's gonna comfort me and keep me strong?
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Volume 1, the anime and manga podcast where we highlight and discuss new series each week. But today we're back with more Bleach, which means that my name is Josh Sneaky Michaels. And today I am joined by
Mehgan, Ganju, Perrine.
Oh, Ganju Perrine. I'm surprised you didn't say Ganja Perrine over here. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of what we are calling our Dun Kai series, which is a Bleach read-through, read-along in preparation for the 1,000-year Blood War arc anime adaptation that's going to be coming out in October of this year. Today, we will be covering chapters 71 through 96. This is finally the beginning, the entry, the sneak entry to Soul Society. We're finally here. And for those of you who don't know, I have not read Bleach since high school, which was...
You're just going to say period. You guys know I've not read anything about Bleach.
I have to come clean, never read it. No, I haven't read it since high school, which was, a long time ago.
Long time ago.
It was a while ago.
Long time ago.
And I just find rereading this that there's so many things that I forgot. So many things, so many details, so many relationships, dynamics that I have forgotten. So it's so fun to go back and rediscover all of these things. But Mehgan, it's your first time reading through all of this. This is the arc that a lot of people consider to be their favorite. I say that every episode, but I'm just so excited to finally be here with you. And I know this is the very beginning. We're at the tip of the iceberg when it comes to diving into this arc. But how do you feel so far reading the chapters that we've read?
It is we've been hearing this Soul Society place ever since the first chapter. So it's like, what did this place look like? Like, what's actually going on there? What are the people like? Like, how do the souls fit into Soul Society? Not just with the Soul Reapers, but the ones that are actually there. We get questions answered. We get to see what it actually looks like. We get to see, more Soul Reapers, awesome character designs, new characters. It's all just fun.
Yeah.
And it's something new. It's something new because, we've only seen, Earth and how they deal with that in high school. And it definitely, I think it was a comment saying, I think I said this last episode too, how it's transitioning from kind of a slice of life to oh, we're doing this now. We're doing this, break-in, survival
rescue
mission.
Yeah, for me, that's a great point too. For me, I think this was obviously where I, as well, when I first watched Bleach, started to really feel myself being hooked by this world, these characters, and this story. And it's because, like you said, it completely shifts gears and feels like it becomes a completely different story. And this, to me, is what feels more like Bleach, right? Now that we're finally here, you need the beginning, and the beginning is great. But this, when I think back on Bleach, this is how I remember it feeling. The world, the robes, all the power-ups, all of it.
And it definitely feels intentional. Rukia did something that she necessarily wasn't supposed to do. They kind of been just living on Earth and fighting hollows here and there. But I feel it was a huge, again, it was obviously a shift from them being in the normal world versus going to Soul Society where there's actually repercussions for what has been going on this whole time.
Yeah.
And what Rukia's life is actually.
Well, yeah. And that's,
we've seen Ichigo's.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing Rukia's,
Absolutely. And that's kind of what I really like about it too with all these relationships is that something I really like that Kubo does here is in this first part of this arc, you are thrown into this world with all these characters, and it can be overwhelming because there's so many new names, and there's captains and assistant captains and fourth seats and third seats and different Zanpakuto abilities. But none of it, even the way that the magic and the spells work, none of it feels spoon fed to you. None of it feels like you're getting this expository dialogue through other characters explaining who these characters and their relationships to each other are. You're kind of just figuring it out. And even though we've met so many characters, so many new characters, we still don't understand who a lot of them are or understand their relationship with each other because they all feel complicated. They all feel layered.
It's like a crazy transition where like even in like the first couple chapters of Bleach, the first volumes, like you are kind of spoon fed all of this information because it's like, giving Ichigo the information. So you're getting it as the reader, but they could have easily done that again with just people explaining to other people like, remember, that's what we do. We do this because that affects that. Remember? Yeah. It's like, no, they wouldn't talk like that because they already know what they're doing and they've doing fucking hundreds of years.
You don't know who that guy is?
Yeah.
He's the brother of two, Shinigami from, ancient times, considered to be one of the most, it's not a lot of that.
No, because it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
Because it would be like, you'd be so thrown out. You'd be like, oh, okay. Like, why are they really explaining this to each other? Like, they've known each other for hundreds of years. Like, they wouldn't be doing this shit.
And it's cool because, like you said, like, it's being, all that information in the beginning is being fed to Ichigo because Ichigo's having to learn all those things. Now, we are also feeling what Ichigo and the gang are feeling in the sense that we're trying to figure everything out and the lay of this land and the relationships just like they are. Like, they don't know and they're trying to and having to discover it themselves too. I want to read a comment really quick at the beginning of this episode. Shout out to this commenter. His name is Rayolo Swag. Shout out to Rayolo Swag for this comment. Couple timestamps here, a couple bullet points here, but I think that the two that I really wanted to read, I think are important this episode and kind of explain some questions that we might have had in our previous episode. But in talking about Soul Society, now that we're actually here, Rayola says that, just to give backstory on the stuff you guys talked about, Bleach is based on Japanese Buddhist religion. Subtle detail, the flames on the Bleach logo are Buddhist flames. So it's a whole afterlife system. Its whole afterlife system is based on something called the Wheel of Samsara, which, like was explained, has reincarnation, and the whole system works on a cycle reincarnation. The ultimate goal here isn't to be reincarnated into a specific realm. Rather, it's to escape the cycle completely through enlightenment, as they see it as a cycle of suffering. Hopefully that gives you a better idea of what was explained by the Soul Reaper and the Quincy fight they had. Which I think this is really, important to note because there was a comment on a couple videos back that we did where someone said that once they got to Soul Society and realized it was like Edo, Japan, that it kind of took them out. But it's like, it is based on this sort of like Buddhist idea of the afterlife. And, it's actually what interested me as someone who grew up and had like a Christian upbringing to see this sort of afterlife portrayed in a completely different way, something that was more foreign to me. I really, really enjoyed it.
Literally foreign.
I mean, literally foreign. But yeah, I mean, it's what really grabbed me and it's what really hooked me. And also, one other thing that he said is that you had commented that, I can't remember at what point in the last video that you compared this to Durara. Do you remember exactly?
Yeah, it was it was last episode when Jin was introduced, Jin Ichimaru.
Yeah.
And I noticed, and we kind of talked about how this is kind of a character that we've seen in anime and manga all the time. Like, we have the guy from the commander, the captain from Kaiju number 8. We have this character from Durara. We have there's a character in Black Butler that they all kind of have that demeanor of the smiling, the closed eyes, I am a badass, I whatever. And it totally reminded me of that character from Durara.
And it's funny because this commenter also said that the author of Durara is good friends with Kubo, and so much so that they've co-written Bleach light novels together, which I did not know that, and that is awesome. And it's funny because, when we talk about all these mangaka and their relationship, I mean, first of all, I just geek out on mangaka being friends with each other and sharing their techniques or stories.
I love it. Urasawa has a whole, I forget what it's called. Please comment below if you know.
His YouTube, or it's not on YouTube, but it's been re-uploaded to YouTube where he talks to
other mangaka. It's so awesome. And all of them, of course, geek out over him. They're every single person's oh my God, it's Urasawa. Oh my God. And he's calm down. I'm not that great. You're the one who's great.
I mean, Urasawa now, unfortunately with the passing of Miura, Urasawa might be the godfather of manga right now. I mean, he's just an OG everything that man touches is gold. I mean, he's such a great artist, such a great writer, like prolific, like
who would
everything
you say?
he does.
Like it's like Urasawa.
I
Like
mean,
maybe.
I mean, that's a tough
It's
question.
hard. I
And
know.
that's a video that I would love to do, like top 5, not necessarily manga or anime, but mangaka.
Mm-hmm.
But in saying that too, I love that manga is inspired. They're inspired by their peers.
Mm-hmm.
And what's funny in the last point I'll make about stuff we talked about in the last episode was that we compared this, or because it's just so interesting that we just happen to have been reading this simultaneously with Eni's Lobby, the One Piece arc. And this is no spoilers for One Piece if you haven't read One Piece or that far, but they are both rescue mission type story arcs. And I had kind of assumed for whatever reason that One Piece came first, but it's actually that Bleach, the Soul Society arc, came before Eni's Lobby. And, it's not to say that anybody stole. I mean, there's, like I said in the previous episode, rescue mission stories aren't anything new.
Definitely not. And it is, I mean, they're so different.
I mean,
obviously.
have you seen what's the one with the mouse? That Disney movie with the mouse?
Mousetrap?
No, it's like Rescue Ranger or something like that.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Stuart Little.
Oh, God.
I like Stuart Little. I like it. He kind of scared me a little bit, though.
Yeah, Stuart Little's a little Uncanny Valley kind of.
He's like,
that live action one.
Yeah, he's like smiling and they're like treating it. That's a crazy. They adopt a.
That's like, you just realized that?
They adopt a mouse as their son.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, I mean, you really just re-experienced that. Realizing that he was a mouse.
They dress him up. Call that's your brother.
But
oh my god!
In comparing it to all those other or comparing those arcs to each other, like it does sometimes for me. I can't help but compare it to all the other stories that I've read and that I love.
Yeah.
Like I can't help myself when reading Bleach sometimes because of the size of Ichigo's sword to compare him or the size of his sword to like Guts or Dragon Slayer or something like that. Like they're completely different characters, but they're both very strong. And I think even in this part, Ichigo kind of does something by tying his like bandages to his sword that I think is something that Guts did as well.
Yeah, but I think Guts has a bigger sword than Ichigo.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Nobody has a sword as big as Guts does. And if they do,
they're lying.
Then they're fooling themselves.
They're fooling themselves and they're lying to themselves and others.
But also, like, I really started to rediscover, because I hadn't read Bleach the first time I experienced, or I hadn't read Berserk the first time I experienced Bleach. So now that I have, like, it's so cool because I would kind of even compare like Ishida to like a Serpico kind of character. Like they both, like he has like a kind of like a Serpico kind of vibe to him. And I would even say that like, the character that we meet, Ganju, this arc, he's got a kind of like Isidro vibe to him. I don't know. I don't
know.
I mean, it's a stretch. Like I know,
it's a little bit.
But it's just like,
but you can't help it.
No, and I'm not saying that anybody's stealing from anybody, but there is a quote that says "good artists steal," but I think it means that art inspires art, and
it's not actually like artists like steal.
Yeah.
Like if you want to become a good artist, plan that bank heist now.
Yeah. Get your team together.
Yeah, don't steal.
Yeah. But I really enjoyed re-experiencing this. Something that I was also really surprised about was the relationship between Ichigo and Ganju. Again, I was a lot younger and I was a different person when I experienced it the first time, but I don't remember loving their relationship as much as I did this time around. Like I thought that their dynamic was so hilarious and so well executed and so fun to read all these years later, and I don't remember feeling this strongly about them as like a bromance before. Like this was like so much fun to read, and every time they were on page together, I'm laughing, and it's a dynamic that I feel like I have seen other series do. But
I was
feel
just
like
about to say that.
This just, something about it's the charm. I don't know what it is. It's the subtlety and the charm of these characters that really elevates it for me, sells it more for me. I really enjoyed it a lot.
Well, it's like they come together because, they don't come together because Ichigo like hates Soul Reapers. He just does it. He just wants to get Rukia, and he's working with him because he's like, yeah, I hate them. and then we have someone else who's like, yeah, I hate them too. So you have like two people on a team that like hate Soul Reapers, and they just like work together. Like just like I love a team that has different motivations, but they're all like going towards the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. It was also really cool to see, like we talked about the inner workings of Soul Society, but just now we're starting to see really how barbaric these people are.
Yeah.
These people that are in positions of power, and just their ways are very old and very ruthless, and to the point or to the extreme of like literal, like almost like gladiator-esque fighting, where they would throw prisoners into pits with hollows and watch them fight. I mean,
and they were like, but we don't do that anymore.
Yeah, like that's so crazy. Like we've grown. We don't do that anymore.
Yeah, but we do other stuff.
We do imprison people in towers with a window big enough for them to see the weapon that will end their life, and just kind of give them a little sliver of sky to kind of see that and kind of ponder that, and really psychologically maybe drive them insane and in a way like a form of torture, but we don't put people in pits no more.
No more pits.
No more pits.
None of that shit.
And I do think that too, to that point, I understand that like that might make more sense if someone who had committed a more extreme or worse crime was put there, then that would be a suitable punishment, or I think something that wouldn't be as crazy. But just seeing Rukia put in that position is a little heartbreaking. But it also, I think, it's getting the ball rolling on the whole like mystery side or the inner conspiracy.
Yeah,
that
for sure.
happening.
The conspiracies of like, okay, we know that she's like kidnapped, or not kidnapped, but we know that she's imprisoned, but like everyone else kind of seems to like not think that it's right. Or you have one person is like, yeah, this kind of seems weird, and then you have someone else like also looking into it and being like, why is this the case? Like, first of all, this isn't even like a crime. Second of all, her what is it called? Her Gigai like was taken away immediately.
Yeah.
Like he's kind of just like adding it all up because it doesn't make sense to them, but like we don't know what makes sense and doesn't make sense yet to us. So
I know it's hard with series like Bleach, and this is a message to everybody experiencing this story for the first time. I know it's hard with series like this to avoid spoilers, but I really, really hope that the revelation of this mystery and sort of the things that it leads to, I really hope that it does not get spoiled for you or for anybody else who's experiencing this for the first time, because that you are robbing yourself of a very, I think, awesome reveal.
I try not to. They follow me.
Yeah, you keep saying that.
I really can't escape them. Like I try. I can't.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's something about, I don't know if it's the way that your brain takes in information.
Oh. That was fucking crazy.
No, it's a compliment because you take in information so fast. Like when you scroll through a feed, I mean, I look over sometimes and I can't retain anything that I'm seeing. So my point is that you, for whatever reason, have developed this like retention level of just like being able to retain things in an instant. Like I feel like if you flash something in front of you for like 0.0001 second, you know every detail. You got like an eidetic photographic memory or something.
Who knows? So what does that have to do with spoilers?
No, but so I mean, like maybe I have encountered, because I follow similar pages or feeds or, similar things, come up in my feed. But because like the moment I even see anything that looks even sort of kind of spoilery, I scroll past it. But because I'm a little slow, I haven't really retained anything. But because, you with that quickness can retain it all, it's just in there and it lives in there rent free. And now you know.
Yeah.
And now
it sucks.
Yeah. So it was a compliment, dude, and you acted like I was giving you a diss, like a sneak diss.
The way you started that sentence, I don't know if it's just the way your brain works.
Well, that's how I talk, I start by saying something absurd and then I work my way backwards.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's
how your brain works.
That is because that's how you get people's attention. You start by saying something crazy, so then they're like, what? Because people don't listen. You know, so you got to say something wild, and they're like, "What did you say?" And then you work back, and they go, "Oh, okay." That's how you got to get.
Okay.
That's how you got to get people to hear you.
So
sometimes.
you piss people off.
Not
to
really
make them
piss
to listen
people
to
off,
you.
but I give them something to perk their ears. You know, I like a good like perked up ear. You know,
That does not sound good.
Anyway, you want to start going through some of this now, a little more beat by beat. So where we left off is, literally they're going through the gate into Soul Society, and it kind of cuts to the sound of the alarms. And what's really fun about this too is that just Kubo again, dude. Like, do you have to be so cool? I mean, he's like the coolest guy ever. Throughout this arc too, you're gonna get so many like full page panels of characters just being badass and just looking cool as shit. But it's like just another cool thing too, and it's something so small. But this chapter that we come back on is called Intruders, but with a Z. You know, like he's just cool. Like Intruders with a Z.
He's just like effortlessly cool.
He is.
Like he's not trying
He
hard, and it like comes across like they're just cool.
Yeah. He's effortlessly cool in the same way that I feel like kind of Dan feels effortlessly cool. You know? So yeah, the alarms are going off. The captains, the assistant captains, like everybody is being alerted, and then it cuts back to the gang in the gateway, the tunnel. They come across the cleaner, which looks like a train made of flesh.
Yeah, it's
that's
disgusting.
coming after him. And again, rescue arc, Annie's lobby, trains. I'm just saying.
You're reaching. You're really reaching now.
It's because I'm reading these at the same time that I keep making these comparisons. But they're able to break through, and there's a couple cool moments where Chad like rips Ishida away from its grasp, and then Orihime kind of saves them by using her Subakiku Baigo Lily. You're
pretty good at that.
Yeah, I love it, dude. And they kind of finally enter Soul Society, and I think they're all kind of shocked when they get there. Like, this is it?
Yeah,
this is it. And I would feel the same way. You're talking about a spirit realm.
Well, it's like the spirit realm, and then you see like the fucking gates of hell.
Oh yeah, the gates of hell.
And you're like, oh, my expectations are high.
Well, the gates of hell look crazy when we saw them.
I know.
They looked crazy.
It looks wild.
And then you go to, Soul Society, and everybody looks, pretty regular.
Pretty regular, and I have to say, I watched a couple episodes
of the anime
during these couple chapters, and the pacing is wild. It's wild. The pacing is so much faster in the manga. Obviously, usually it is, but I don't know. Like, it's pretty rough.
I'm gonna have to agree with you. And again, when I experienced Bleach the first time, I watched this part, all of this, I watched, and rewatching it again, I agree 100%. The pacing was a lot slower, and I'm gonna say that, and the animation kind of really doesn't hold up as much as other anime from that time. And some do, some don't.
Yeah, this was just this is when we meet, we meet the giant guy.
And again, giants guarding gates. Annie's lobby. Just saying. Go ahead. Look,
the giant represents like something big in their way, not just a gate, but
no, I'm just as freaking, analytical as the next chap, but I also smell something, smell something similar,
I was about to say, I was like, did you just fucking fart?
Did I fart? Really? Okay. I don't also, this is a side note, but I've been noticing the fart jokes are making a comeback, and I love a good fart joke, but it's like the charm of a fart joke is that it's not, it was so overdone that it was not funny. Then when it started to be done again, it was funny, but now it's being done a lot again, and it's like, let's tone it down with the farts. Because I want them to,
Josh, tone it down.
I want them to stay funny.
But yeah, it was pretty, again, we only watched a couple episodes, so we didn't really see the end of where we read. Like, we didn't watch that, so maybe it changes somewhere Because we've got a
it
lot.
for sure does. Yeah.
Yeah, we got like people saying to watch Soul Society because of the fights and stuff, and
I do think even some of the fights later are probably going to be a lot better. In my memory, everything is better, and that's I think also why when I go back and I watch it, I'm like, oh, because I've romanticized it in my brain. But yeah, even the character that we meet, Judambo, the giant, he was, I think, way goofier in the anime than he was in the manga. In the manga, he was still goofy and he was still like funny, but I don't know. I feel like they made him a lot like dumber and more like, I don't know. They made him like a caricature of who he's already a caricature in the manga, but I mean, I guess they just exaggerated it in the anime.
And that tends to happen, just playing it up.
Yeah. But even as soon as they land there and like seeing the humor, even though they're in this like crazy place, again, I just want to point out that the humor lands and continues to land for me. Like the subtlety of like Ishida pulling out an extra cape. Being like, I didn't think I was gonna have to use my extra cape this fast.
Yeah, and even I forget the cat's name, but
Yoruchi,
Yoruchi. Orihime is like, oh, I used my, lily bygone, whatever, to like, block us from the thing, and he's like hits the shit out of her face.
Yeah.
Like he paws her, and she's just like this, and then it's hilarious.
Yeah, Yoruchi and Orihime are so funny.
Yeah.
And I've been thinking, I was kind of rereading this a little bit, and I was like, you know what, Megan's got a little bit of an Orihime vibe. And that's a compliment. That's a compliment.
Thank you.
I mean, you're really taking all my compliments the wrong way today.
Thank you. I have an Orihime vibe, I guess.
That's a good thing.
Thank you.
Oh my God. So yeah, then they enter Soul Society and they see that it is separated into two parts, right? You got the Rukon guy and I'm not going to be able to say half of these names, but it's like the Sierrete. And I am so sorry. I might even cut that out. That was so bad. But it's just the two places, and it's the slums and it's the place where the captains and everybody else live.
And I was like, why are there slums?
Well, I mean, now that we know that this is based off of a more Buddhist idea of the afterlife, not necessarily heaven, it would make sense that there would be slums there. I mean, the world is that way. The world is that way. And that's what's crazy. We like to think that, as messed up as this world is, we like to think that when we die, we're going to go to this place where everything's like beautiful and shiny and gold. Yeah, right. We're going to go there and they're still going to make us pay off all our debt. Like our debt's not going to go, people go like, oh, at least when I die, I won't have to pay off my credit card bills. The way life works, watch you get there and they're going to be, space accountants and stuff like that, that are going to be.
Space accountants, yeah.
Yep. They're going to be like,
you're going to be accountant.
Yeah.
You think that's why they're called that?
Was that British?
Do you think that's why they called that?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Accountant.
I'm just saying. So, I mean, and that's another thing too. I like that they're kind of the slums, because I'd be there. That's where I'd be. I'd be in the slums.
Damn.
Yeah.
You have no.
I'd work my way up and out, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
But you're content.
No, I'm not content, but I'm not, I'm not miserable. I'm making the best of my situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was cool too, because we got to see, we don't get to see this until later, but we got to see them meet a lot of the residents of these slums. And there was a little reunion that I thought was pretty cute.
That was very cute. It kind of did bum me out though.
Why?
Because like what was promised to him was like, oh, well, we actually don't know where this person is. It's like,
well, that person is there.
Yeah, but it's annoying that they're not.
But that's the way life works. You know how, it'd be too perfect. It'd be too like cookie cutter.
I guess.
It'd be too happy-go-lucky if he just like, if they just, and that is also to show you that how just like systematic this whole place is. Like even I think one of them says like, well, don't the Soul Reapers like help reunite people with their family? And they're like, no, we just get numbers based on the order in which we die. And then we get separated to different sort of places throughout. And so it is like, it is a way of showing you how just like how they've just sort of reduced everything to numbers instead of like actually caring about these people and their souls. But it was cool to see that little parakeet
Yeah, that was
Happy
cute.
to see Chad again.
Yuichi.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Ichigo obviously fucking, beats the giant guy.
Yeah.
He's very strong, and even like Chad's like, obviously he was strong before, but now that he's trained, like Ichigo's a monster.
Well, yeah, and I think that's the big takeaway from this fight.
Yeah,
is that,
for sure.
Like, Ichigo's revelation or his declaration to the rest of the gang that, and it's meant to be a badass line, but it's kind of like there's so many actual genuine badass lines in this arc. Like Ishida and Chad maybe have like two of the coolest.
Yeah.
But this one was like a little like, I don't know, underwhelming compared to the rest of them. But he's like, yeah, I was supposed to get my Soul Reaper powers over the course of 10 days, but I got them in 5. So do you know what I did for the other 5 days? It's like, are you telling a joke? Or is there
Is this a
punchline?
setup? Yeah.
And he's like, I fought, every single day, all day. But it is like, that's the takeaway from this fight is that he got his Soul Reaper abilities back a lot faster than planned, and was able to use the remaining time to train his ass off and to fight with Urahara and to develop and to gain this much power in just 5 days, which is crazy.
Wild. Yeah, he's wildin'.
He really is.
He really loves Rukia.
Oh, does he or doesn't he? Maybe he just loves her as a friend. That's crazy. Maybe he just wants to go save his friend. Dang,
right.
girl. But yeah, the fight was like I said, a lot, I think, more entertaining in the manga than in the anime, because of just how much goofier. And specifically, there was this one line where he's like, he knocks him down, and he says in the anime, he says like, oh, you thought you knocked me down? I tripped and fell.
What?
Yeah, but in the manga, he says like, "Oh, you think that knocking me down is gonna take me out?" And it's just like that's such a subtle,
crazy difference.
Like, but it is a crazy difference.
Yeah, and that's I kind of just was like, okay, I'm gonna just read now.
Yeah.
And then once I started reading, it was like, just crazy. Like he opens the gate for them because he's like, "You beat me." I guess that's how it works. You beat me, now you can go. It's like
it's honor.
Dude. Yeah, but you have a job. I mean, you do have a job to do. Like, even though they beat you, like, don't let them in. That's your one. Don't let them in.
Yeah, but I mean, they're old heads, throwing people into pits, and so I think
they don't do that anymore.
Oh yeah, you're right. My bad.
They apologize for that.
So maybe they used to let people into the gates after they won, but
not anymore. They changed. For the good, for the better. And he, lifts the gate, and guess who's there? Jin.
Mm-hmm.
Jin Ichimaru. And, even, God, what's the cat's name again?
Yoruchi's
like, once we get in there, no captains. If you see a captain, if you see anyone like that, steer clear, because we are not going to do that today, because we are not on that level yet. So run away. And of course, Ichigo's like, nah, hell nah, I'm not going to run away. And this fool.
Yeah, this was crazy.
This fool, he goes, a gatekeeper ain't supposed to open gates. And he slices his arm off.
I mean, yeah. Sounds about right to me.
He chops his arm off, and you could say entry into Soul Society costs an arm and a leg.
Oh.
Yeah.
I love like Jin though, because like there is this like fear when he steps onto the scene, and you could see it. Like, yes, he is a captain, but also something about just him and the way that he slices Judambo's arm off, and then like uses his Zanpakuto to like send Ichigo flying when that gate does close down, and he's just like leaning under it, like waving. I mean, there is something frightening about this man.
He's scary.
He's a scary man.
Yeah, and he's got some other motives.
Yeah, I'm surprised that there's not a meme, of someone like a little kid looking under his bed, and then they just take that panel of Jin right there.
That's
waving.
Scary.
Yeah, I'm scared.
I could tell. You know, you look under your bed every night. You're like, Jin. You're like deep. Like
well, that's just because I'm on the road to recovery. I'm sober. I've been sober for maybe going on 3 years. I feel like I think I kind of lost track, but so sometimes I do wake up.
That was really good.
In the middle of the night, and I go, Jin. Oh no, sorry.
That's good. That was really good. I'm impressed.
They get kicked all the way out, and are sent back to the slums. And Orihime is healing Judambo because Judambo's a good guy. And he's also from the slums. And so he's got a lot more respect for the people, and the people have a lot more respect for him.
Yeah, he's got street cred.
He's got street cred. He's a real one.
He's a real one. And if you help him out, like your homies will help, our homies will help you out.
He's the homie. He's the homie. He's like Aladdin. He's a street rat, He's a G, and I respect him. But she's over there healing him, and Yoruichi asks about Kukaku Shiba, who is somebody that when the rest of the people there hear their name, they react very strongly to. And I didn't forget about this character, but I mean, man, I forgot how, again, much I like these characters. During this part of the arc, it is a lot of fighting. Yeah. But the characters that we do meet are so freaking cool.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. And it's only the beginning.
This is when we also meet Ganju for the first time. He comes crashing through the door, and his dynamic with Ichigo, they have a contentious relationship immediately because Ganju hates Soul Reapers, which seems like
what are you doing here?
Yeah, surface level, hatred. Of course, there's going to be a character that hates Soul Reapers, and they're going to have to, overcome that. But again, something about it just feels a lot more fresh here.
I mean, we already had that with Quincy. Yeah, so it's just okay, again. But it really didn't make me upset. I was like, okay, I like this
I think it works better than Ishida and Ichigo for some reason. I mean, I love Ishida, and I love him on his own, and I think... But just because him and Ganju are so just they're fools.
They're similar.
And when they get together, they bring the best out of each other strength wise when it comes down to it. But they also bring the worst out in each other, and they turn each other into being the most stubborn, just dick swinging contest, pissing contest kind of guys. And it's just, I don't know, it's funny. Then he has to leave for some reason.
He's like, gotta go. They're like, okay, bye.
It's 9:00. I gotta go.
You know what that means? Oh, I gotta go.
He's like, oh.
He's holding his butt.
And he's holding his butt
because he has to go to the bathroom.
And there was that anime gurgle noise.
He's like, I gotta go. And he's like,
yeah.
He's like Naruto.
Yeah, and he kind of you thought he was riding a boar on the way out, but that was a fart cloud with tusks. Yeah, it was a fart cloud with tusks. But they go looking for Kukaku's house, and there was a little boar over there right there. They go looking for Kukaku's house, and they're like, how are we gonna... You're crazy. Anyway, they go looking for Kukaku's house, and they're like, how are we gonna find it? And Yoruichi's like, no matter where this person is, you'll be able to tell their house when you see it. And we see it, and it's these two giant arms holding up this banner. It is so funny.
Why?
I don't know. I mean, it's just
so
this person.
Hilarious.
I mean, when you realize what this person's occupation is, I mean, I do feel like I've seen places like that do the same thing. I mean, they're a fireworks expert, right? So you know how sometimes you'll see a fireworks shop, and they'll just have the craziest sort of buildings or things around their building. I don't know, but it was also, you caught that little cover page moment.
Yeah, I did.
Other designs for the house, and one of it is instead of arms, it's a guy and a girl, and the girl's giving a love letter to the guy. And
I think it was it all the things it could represent, wasn't it?
No, all the other, because they said that this person has moved around a lot. So these are all the other places. All the other buildings, what they've all looked like at other places. And then
it was a love letter, yeah.
There's a character there who goes, well, now the first one doesn't seem so bad. And it was just really funny. But they go to the house, they find the twins. The twins lead them to the fireworks expert, Kukaku, who is a
mommy.
A mommy, for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of people, there's a character that we do see for the first time here, who I think is a lot of people's favorite. I think she's an assistant captain.
Yeah, she's orange hair, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a lot of people's, I think, go-to kind of mommy, but I think people are sleeping on Kukaku.
I agree. I've seen a lot of just art of Bleach ladies. And I was like, oh, this is mommy number one for me right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and she's missing an arm,
she's badass.
She's badass. I don't know, she's I don't know. She's got a little.
Her
she's
outfit, she got a little swagger to her
She's
too.
got a little swagger to her. I mean, she's got it all. I mean, she's kind of sitting like she owns not even the place, but like she owns the world. You know, like she's kind of, I don't know. She commands wherever she's at, and I think people are sleeping on her a little bit too much. But we also realized that Ganju is her brother, and that was a pretty funny reveal too.
Yeah, I was like, of course.
But
Cue
again,
the music.
yeah. But of course, I like it. I like it so much here, and I don't know why. So once it's revealed that Ganju is the brother, it cuts back to Rukia for a minute, and Rukia is getting moved from like cell to cell, and she's being taken to the Repentance Palace by Renji to stare out at the instrument that will end her life.
Yeah, it's like a guillotine, but like a bleed. Like picture like what you think Kubo would draw a guillotine.
Yeah, well, it's like a spirit guillotine.
Yeah, it looks sick. It looks sick.
And later on, it's said that this is a device used for execution only on like high-ranking officials like captains. So it is a little bit odd.
Classier.
That she was odd. That she's getting paid. Well, I mean, if there is a classy way to go, I guess it would be by this like fancy spirit guillotine.
And who is the guy with the glasses?
Aizen.
Yeah, he's kind of unraveling all this as we're going. He's like, like you said, like we said in the beginning, like, why is Rukia being punished for this like this? You know, why this isn't necessarily against the law, so like I just don't understand it. And I'm like, okay, then break her out.
Yeah, but there is like hierarchy. There is, a pecking order. People have to answer to other people.
Pecking order.
There is a pecker order as well.
Pecker order, yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought too. Like they line them up and they're like,
this
is the order.
Yeah. Similar to like, if you've ever been arrested, and they kind of line you up and they put you in what's called a pecker order. They line you up from biggest to smallest. Yeah. What a demeaning thing to do.
Insane.
But and Renji, what's cool about this moment too is like, this whole time you feel like Renji is very conflicted about everything that's going on.
Yeah, for sure.
Which I like. And again, like not being spoon-fed their relationship, you do get a sense that Renji has this like attachment to Rukia, but it hasn't been spelled out exactly how. Because
he's kind of like assumed today about everything too.
Yes.
So it's like hard to get a read on him. Like he cares, but like he doesn't care. And like, obviously we know he cares more than Rukia's actual brother. So that's something. But yeah, he definitely wants this not to happen. I don't know how many moves he's making to like try to do that. But the guy with the glasses seems to be doing a little bit more.
Well, yeah, I mean, as far as we know, he seems to be the only one doing anything.
Doing some investigating.
And I feel like Renji, it just does feel sort of shackled by the law and is just like, doesn't want to do it.
But he
wants to do something, but yeah.
He does get deshackled later on.
Which is really, really, really cool. A cool moment for him. So yeah, and he leans in and tells Rukia, he says that, there was an intruder. They have orange hair.
I was so like,
yeah. And she kind of like, has this moment of like this look of shock.
It's like, there's only one.
But he doesn't tell her about Jin, the encounter with Jin.
Yeah, because Jin but he was in front of all the other captains and stuff. And the main guy, the head of them, I don't know his name, but he's like, why'd you let him go? Like, explain yourself. And I kind of liked how he's like, I have no explanation.
Yeah. Well, I like to how
it wasn't like, I'm going to try to like beg for your mercy. He's like, I don't have any reason. Like, he knew that he wasn't dead.
Yeah.
Because of what he said or what they kind of explained. Like, you feel their life force.
Yeah.
Like, you would know if they died or not. Are you just that stupid? Or are you just that rusty? And he's like, I guess. I don't know.
He's like, I guess.
Like, he's got something, obviously.
Yeah.
Under his belt. Do they wear belts?
I mean, I think it's some sort of like, belt sort of thing. I mean, I think maybe it sort of serves the same purpose, some sort of waistband.
Under his sword.
Under his sword.
Yeah. He's a grower, not a shower.
Yes, he is, Megan.
Yeah.
He is a grower, not a shower. Wow. And this is what...
Very good.
No, I was going to say very astute observation. This is what we come to these episodes for.
Right?
But I also really want to say too that you liked how he didn't really have an answer. I also like that throughout this arc, Kubo gives an explanation, or at least has the characters in universe say, like so many times characters will be, giving expository dialogue or just talking to each other or doing all these things or explaining their moves or whatever. And in universe, multiple times in this arc, Kubo has them acknowledge that or speak on that at a certain point. Like in the Judambo fight, he's like, "Are you done talking?" And Ichigo's like, "We're fighting. You did not have to wait for me to finish fighting. Like you just stood there and let me listen, or listen." And then again later on, it's like, "Why are we talking?" Or like, I don't know. I just love these little sort of just explanations, or even if it's just a line of dialogue that's just acknowledging the fact that these characters in universe are aware that they're all sitting around talking to each other when they're supposed to be fighting. I love that. But yeah, so Aizen's chat with Renji. Aizen tells Renji, that there's something going on. Ruki wouldn't be there unless she was a captain. Her execution date is getting pushed up 10 days, I think. She's there's so many things that are really fishy. Her Gigai was destroyed the moment it got there. So a lot of fishy stuff. He's the only one that seems to be making any moves at all. Bless you. Bless you again. Then we cut back to the entry plan, the gang and their entry plan, and Kaku has developed this thing that she calls the spirit cores, the Reshu Kaku spirit cores, basically the cannonballs, which are these
which was awesome.
Very cool.
Very cool. They're like, "How are we gonna get shot out of this cannon?" She's like, "I already figured it out and make you the cannonball."
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah. And she gives or Ganju gives a little demonstration, and you can put your spirit energy into this ball and it creates this orb around you. And just so fun and so cool. And to see them all training later on how to do it and just how they all
do it differently. Yeah.
And the little notes too, or the little lines between characters where, Ishida's is very narrow and they're
it's like
sharp.
An oval. He's like, okay, a little less.
Well, they're also, someone's like, it's also probably a reflection of your character.
Yeah.
Or like this, it's a reflection of who you are. As a
it should have been a square.
Got him.
Got him.
Got him. But
Ganju. What's his name? Ganju. I Ganju.
I'm going to write the timestamp down.
What
so I can cut that part out.
No.
But and it's funny to see them all do it, and they all have their different ways of doing it. And Ichigo can't do it, which is pretty funny because he's just as powerful as he is. It's just staying consistent with the fact that he just doesn't know how to hone anything or turn anything on or off.
Which is kind of annoying because he trained.
He trained to fight, and he specifically did say that too.
Yeah.
He said, "I just
fought." Not his ability. Well, that would probably go hand in hand. He's like, "I spent 5 days. You know what I did? For the next 5 days, fighting every day." I'm like, okay, maybe cut that in half and then work on your spirit.
2.5 days fighting.
Yeah.
2.5 days spirit ability.
Yeah,
or spirit energy.
And
that's why you should have been there.
I should have been there. I should have been, bucket hat. You don't know how to train these fools.
The brother Ganju, ends up telling everybody, or telling Ichigo, I think, in this moment, because they're still butting heads. What?
I just want to say, this part, I kind of laughed because it was kind of like, okay.
And go on.
I don't know.
Go on and go off.
It was just like, I have to go because my brother died. And I was like, why are you it was so out of place.
It was mysterious because, the first time he mentions it, right? He mentions it when they're training.
Yeah.
And he kind of says that, he kind of
I think he's talking to his sister about it.
Well, he does talk to his sister about it for a second. There's a line.
And she's like, don't say that. Don't let them see you like that or whatever.
Yeah. And then he has this change of heart when they're training, and he's like, why are you going to save this Soul Reaper? Why does this Soul Reaper mean so much to you? And he kind of tells him passionately in this moment, because, she gave her life to protect me, and I'm not going to I'm not the type of person to just sit back and let her pay the consequences or suffer the consequences for something that she did to protect me and my family. And Ganju's like, oh, damn. Oh, I didn't know it was like that. I thought you maybe just, I don't know. I don't know what you Soul Reapers do. I thought maybe you guys just had a love affair or something. I don't know. But that's when you kind of start to see him have a little change of heart. And then when they all decide to go, he gives that speech. But what is cool is because it's setting up another mystery, right? And I don't remember. This is one of the things I don't remember. I don't remember how this is resolved. Like, because the brother was a Soul Reaper that was killed by another Soul Reaper that delivered him to their house. And this Soul Reaper looked like a demon. And we do, at this point, have seen one Soul Reaper that does look like a demon. Or looks more similar to this like silhouetted figure.
He looks weird.
Yeah, I always liked his design, but I had no idea when I was a kid. I was like, how do you even come up with that? Kind of looks like he'd be like a Vision character, like he would be like Vision's brother or something.
Which one are you talking about?
Which one are you talking about?
I was talking about the evil one that was like hidden the nurse and shit.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, yeah.
But there's a mystery surrounding it, But I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. It just seemed out of place, and it just seemed like a reason for him to like go. And
I would have rather like him like talk to like Ichigo like one-on-one versus like this whole speech right before they leave. Like, I need to get this off my chest. Like, it was kind of like, okay,
I get it. But that is a Ganju thing to do. You know what I mean? Like,
because she's like, keep it a secret. Like, don't tell anyone. It's like, why?
And she's sitting there drinking sake, pouring one out for the homie, for her brother. And she's just saying, I know you were killed by Soul Reapers and I'm helping a Soul Reaper, but you'd be pretty mad at me if I didn't, kind of thing. This one's for you, And that was kind of sweet. She kind of had that moment with herself. And so that's her way of dealing with it. But then Ganju's way is being loud and being, obnoxious and sort of interrupting everybody and everything.
Yeah. It was just such a strong transition.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, okay, this is where it's set now.
Yeah. But also, just to not brush past it, there was that crazy moment too where Ichigo is training with the cannonball, and Ganju gives him this like visualization technique to help him understand or help him use the technique. And when he does, he goes crazy. And that's just, I think, to show you that if Ichigo doesn't know how to hone it, and we've seen that already, like his spirit energy kind of overflowing.
Yeah.
But if he does even kind of sort of learn how to kind of sort of hone it, then it's like game over. I feel like for a lot of people.
Yeah, she ran in and she was like, no, like, what do you think you're doing?
Yeah.
He's going to explode the whole place.
Yeah. And then we kind of see some more. And during that, it kind of cuts back to that captain's meeting where Jin is being questioned and interrogated. And we already covered that and talked about that. But what ends up like halting that meeting or interrupting that meeting is the alarm going off again, saying that the, invaders, they call them the I forget the name. I have it written down. I'll find it when we get there. But basically the intruders, there are intruders that are invading the inner circle.
Inner circle.
And, it's protected by this like shield. And there's even a diagram of, you can't come from above. You can't come from below. But again, they're able to use this spirit core to kind of, all kind of siphon their spirit energy into. And
yeah, it's they're great. I mean, when they're taking off, when they're in the, they only have one shot to do this right. It's a spell. I have to get right. And Ichigo's kind of like distracting him. And he says like the same thing twice. And he like blames him. And then, he's like, we can't, anything that happens, we cannot get split up. We cannot get split up. Everyone stay together. Yeah. What happens?
They get split up.
They get split up.
I almost forgot to. I wrote this down because I just thought this was so funny about like the comedy coming out of nowhere sometimes and being so funny. When they're about to take off too, Yoruchi's tail being like,
I love that.
Crooked. And it's just so funny because Ichigo's like asleep and he's like, how, like, when did I fall asleep? And, like, did I sleep good? And he's like, how do you think I was watching you sleep? I don't know if you slept good. And he's like, oh, damn. Okay, I got to go. And then Yoruchi's tail. And then they tell him that Ichigo did that in his sleep. And it's so out of nowhere, but it was so funny.
Yeah.
And of course they get split up. Like you said, and it's like Ishida, Orihime, Chad on his own, Yoruchi on his own, on their own, and Ganju and Ichigo together. And then Ichigo and Ganju run across Ikkaku and who they call like the pretty boy Shinigami, who again,
he's got eyelashes.
He's a pretty man.
He got a full set.
He's fashion forward.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate his bold fashion choices, especially in a repressed maybe place like Soul Society. I appreciate
I don't know about that. We got some pretty crazy looking Soul Reapers. We got a pinhead looking guy.
A pinhead looking guy. Are you talking about the guy who was being mean to the nurse? Talking about that guy?
No, the other
Oh,
one.
you're talking about Kenpachi, the spiky hair guy? Oh, I like Kenpachi.
I like Kenpachi, and then I like his little assistant.
Oh, yeah.
What's her name? Yachiru?
Yeah, the assistant captain.
I've seen her around, and I'm like, I like her.
Yeah, and there's actually like a really interesting thing about her too that I don't think we get to discover for a very long time. But and I kind of I want to see if I'm remembering that right. So I can't wait to get there because I love that character too a lot. But Ikkaku versus Ichigo is a fun fight, and I think the takeaway from this fight is the idea that we first of all get to see more Zanpakuto and how they are all different. And I really like Ikkaku's Zanpakuto a lot.
Yeah, Ikkaku is the bald one.
Yes.
And then the one with the eyelashes, because they kind of team up together and then they split off after.
Yeah, they're different seats. Like one is I think Ikkaku's third seat or fourth seat, and the other's fifth seat or something like that.
Yeah, and he's funny. He's like, you're a little lucky. And
Yeah.
they're like, okay. He's like, what? That didn't hit. He's a funny character, and it is a lot about, the Zanpakuto.
The Zanpakuto.
Zanpakutos. And also we get a little lore.
We get a little lore. Yeah.
Little lore.
Little lore
Up in here. Gotta get a little lore.
And we get some little Urahara lore.
I was like, of course.
Of course.
Of course. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know what his position was. I don't know what he, how he fell from grace. Why is he on Earth, indefinitely? Does he go back and forth often? Does he still have that position when he goes back? He just seems like a very chill guy. And I could tell he definitely has some issues with the way Soul Society is run.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I can't wait to see that unfold, because obviously they're he's like, what, you were trained by him? He's a big deal, I guess. So,
and it was cool to see that one page of him in his Soul Society robes.
Yeah, I was like, of course this fool was one. Of course. Why would he know all this shit?
I'm saying, I mean, yeah, because I kind of know, but again, there's so many things I forgot. But so I won't even say what I was about to say.
Yeah, that was sus.
Almost slipped. But their fight is really cool. Again, seeing the Zanpakuto and then seeing sort of Ichigo and his honor as a warrior or a fighter. Mm-hmm. He is very strong, can hold his weight and hold his own against this third. I think Ikkaku was a third seat member. And what's crazy is he comes from the 11th company, I think, which is the warrior company, whose captain is Kenpachi, by the way. And
yeah. I like the captains and how they have, underlings and they all respect them. And it's just I'm a sucker for that type of stuff.
And what's funny is we've talked about that too. And we were reading Sakamoto Days and there was or Undead Unluck, actually, not Sakamoto Days, Undead Unluck. And at the end of the first volume, they get to this place where there's a panel. There's a group. There's
a council.
A council. And I told you in that episode that I'm a sucker for that. And I think it comes from Bleach.
And it's Hunter too.
Oh yeah, Hunter, yeah.
Yeah, it's just fun.
It's so fun.
The Hunter situation, the ranking of Hunters, I just love it.
And Kubo kind of does it again in Burn the Witch too, when we get to see that council. And
Burn the Witch is awesome.
Yeah, Burn the Witch is so cool.
I want to keep reading it.
I wanted them to make more.
Yeah, where is the second volume?
Well, I think it was a one shot or
really? Just a one?
I don't know, because Kubo wrote that, and he's also, as far as I know, obviously the anime is coming out in October again. As far as I know, there are plans to write more Burn the Witch or adapt more Burn the Witch or whatever. Mm-hmm. I don't know how involved he'll have time to be with that, because of the other Bleach one shot that came out recently, which I read was phenomenal. I think the manga is gonna pick back up again too. The Bleach manga is gonna pick back up again too. So I don't know how he's gonna do that.
Really?
I don't know. I as far as I know, because that one shot literally opened the doors to something way crazier. Answers and ideas, or finally some more insight into these worlds that so many people have been wanting to see for so long. And so I think that there's a plan to continue the manga. So I don't know how he would be involved with like continuing that and burn the witch at the same time. I just wouldn't want to burn him out, you know.
That was really good.
Yeah, I got to put a little bow on it.
Zampakto.
man.
Zampakbo on it.
Oh, I did kind of like the way you said it, but yeah, and you know, Ichigo is even though he's very strong and he can hold his own, he's still, and I love this about him. And again, just something about Ichigo being a sort of cold, you know, he's not an asshole necessarily, but he is very just like kind of matter of fact, and he is very sort of just like, you know, pleasantries are not his strong suit.
Yeah.
But to see him, you know, when he is ultimately able to beat Ikkaku, like heal him, and yes, he's healing him for it because he wants answers, but he's also, I think, just healing him because that's who he is. He's not there to kill people. He's not there to like, you know, ruin people's lives. He's there to save Rukia.
I was like shook when I was reading that. I was like, I asked you, I was like, do people die in Bleach? And you were like, yeah. And I was like, he just killed him. Yeah. But he didn't.
He saved him though. And that's what I like about it too, because, you know, a lot of times in anime, like it'll be that the move was supposed to kill them, but I don't know,
didn't
but
work.
like it dodged last minute or because of this thing, like they were able, but the fact that like Ichigo had to save him. If Ichigo, he would have died if Ichigo didn't heal him. I just thought that was really cool. And that just kind of shows you where Ichigo's at. And Ichigo asks, where's Rukia? He tells him where Rukia is at immediately because he's also like, I don't really give a shit.
Yeah. It's like, okay.
And you could sense a little bit of a bond between Ikkaku and Ichigo.
I like Ikkaku a lot.
Me too.
Yeah, he's really cool. He's funny.
He is funny.
He's like, what do you want to know, my birthday?
Yeah, that was funny. That was really funny.
Yeah.
And then while that whole fight is happening, you got Ganju versus the pretty boy, whose name eludes me at the moment. But their fight was also pretty cool. You know, you got Ganju being resourceful and using his sort of fireworks, and he's kind of like striking them on his arms.
Yeah, Ganju's lit, and this eyelash full, yeah. Asshole.
Yeah, he's a little bit of an
asshole. If you were born beautiful, maybe you'd have a better chance. I'm like, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't really, you know, I mean, he wouldn't really be doing too well in 2022. You know, he'd be like, he'd be body shaming everybody. You know, he'd be canceled. Canceled immediately. Canceled immediately.
Canceled, thrown in a pit. Same thing.
Canceled. Yeah. Being canceled is
and thrown in a pit with the hollow. Same thing.
Same thing. Same exact thing. Try to come back from either one of those things. But yeah, their fight was super cool too. And I just think it's to show you how resourceful Ganju is and how powerful he can be. Even though he is kind of running away and, you know.
Because he knows, like, shit. He knows he's powerful, but he knows he's not, like, going up against, like, a straight-up Soul Reaper. Like, without any of those things, like.
And he's dumb, but he's not that dumb. Because he's like, there was a point in the fight where he's like, I need him to think I'm as dumb as he thinks I am so that I can get away with doing all these things. And he kind of uses, and this is like we talked about Burn the Witch too, he kind of uses this spell to turn things into sand. And just, again, you know, you see him do that, and then you see him in the spirit core kind of, you know, reading the other spell, and the way that the spells are read and the way that they're cast is so different and unique and so cool, and does that. I mean, that is because Burn the Witch and Bleach, I think, outside of Kubo's art style, do look and feel kind of different, but it is sort of this like magic system that sort of connects them and makes them feel connected, and how they kind of cast these spells. But yeah, it's just really cool. And, you know, Ganju obviously is able to use his cunning and his tactics to win the fight. Yeah, after that, we move on to Ishida and Orihime versus Judambo's brother, Judambo, the weapons master. And
it was sick.
This was like a highlight for me. I don't know why. I freaking lost my mind when I was
shook. I literally was like, okay. Yeah. I put heart eyes.
Oh, for Ishida? Yeah. Really? He's a gangster.
Uryu,
yeah.
Uryu, yeah. Who are you?
Okay, I liked it.
Ishida.
Ishida, who are you? Ishida.
Yeah. I like Ishida a lot. This made me really like respect him way more than I did, because we kind of saw him like do all that dumb shit with the hollows. I was like, this fool kind of sucks. And now he's really bringing it.
Yes.
Yeah, he brought the heat.
He brought the heat. He's got an upgrade. His new bow looks crazy sick. I love the things that are coming out of his glove, and how he's able to intake more of this energy to be able to output, stronger arrows.
Hell yeah.
And just how he, was protecting Orihime, and just the lines that he was delivering and the way
he was badass.
He was like too cool for freaking school, man.
I know. Orihime was like, damn.
There was
I think we all fell in love there, huh?
I super fell in love, dude. I mean, he said a line. At the end of the fight, he says a line. Well, because the Judambo's brother Judambo is the whole time saying like, take time to like repent or regret or something like that. And when Ishida starts to get the upper hand on him, he's like, there's no time to repent or for regret or whatever. I mean, I don't know. He's like saying like, you might do that, but like I'm not giving you any time. You don't need any time to do that. But then the other one is because he calls himself the Master Kamachi or whatever, which is like the weapons. What? What did you say?
Masters. What did you say?
The Kamachi. And I could be saying that wrong, so I'm sorry. And at the end, he's like, Ishida's like, you're not the weapons master anymore, but Ishida, Kamachi or whatever, Ishida doesn't sound good. I don't like the way it sounds. I mean, I don't know, but it was just like guns blazing. This is a cowboy right here, dude. This is a cowboy. He goes into saloons, dude, and he freaking kicks the door wide open, and he makes those outlaws pay. I loved, Orihime like, notices like, oh, he was training by himself, to use this weapon. And even he says like, yeah, against this weapon, like you're nothing. You're done. Yeah, you're done.
You're done right off the bat. You're not going to win. And just like seeing like the like hate, like it was pure like hatred from him. And she was like, he like seems like a different person because like he's in his element because Ichigo was the first Soul Reaper he ever met.
Yep.
Now he's meeting the fucking real ones.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm coming after your asses now.
Yeah. Yeah, he really is like on a playground right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, finally I get to be where I want to be to get them.
Yeah, man. That whole fight was such a highlight.
Yeah.
I mean, I really enjoyed it.
I would agree. That was probably the best part of this little sliver so far.
Might even be worth going back and watching that. Out of everything, like
the crow guy's really gross though. He looks scary.
Yeah, that one. You got the spinning blades. That guy.
The guy he's fighting.
Yeah, he kind of looked like Judambo, but with like slick hair, like like an undercut or something, dude. It was kind of funny. But so then Ichigo and Ganju kind of meet up again, and they're both being chased by a bunch of different people.
Yeah, every direction, and then Chad. So hilarious. Oh yeah. So much fun.
They end up taking a hostage and they're like, we're going to kill this guy. And they're like, we don't give a shit.
He's in the fourth.
Yeah, he's in the fourth company.
Yeah.
And they're
he
like,
just cleans. And I don't even think he cleans. I think he like.
No, he says he cleans.
He doesn't even like set up anything. He just cleans it. Yeah. They're like, oh, okay. Like,
yeah, they're like, we're the warriors. Like, we're the strong. We're the 11th company. We're the soldiers, the fighters. And then they're like, okay, we're gonna go, and they go because so something crashes through, and then they're like, okay, well now half of them are taken out, so we should probably just use this opportunity to get out of here. And they take him with them. They're hostage with them, and then that's when we see that it was Chad who busted through.
And he's like following their scent. He's like, I feel them somewhere. I don't know why they keep leaving. And he's just so badass. And they're like, get ready for this. Like, you're going down. He's like, this will be over in 2 minutes.
Yeah, they say, you're going down in 5 minutes. Like, this will take 5 minutes. He's like, I'm so sorry, guys.
I'm sorry.
It's only going to take 2. And I'm just like, oh, let's go, Chad. And his like arm is like smoking. And what's cool about Chad is he is this like gentle giant kind of guy. Because you do see him like, when he does get separated the first time, you do see him like sitting under a tree. And he's just like sitting there and he's huge and he's hulking and he's got his arm and there's just like a little bird perched on the top of his arm.
He's like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I just like, he's the best, dude. Yeah. He's the best. That was a super badass moment for Chad. Ikaku ends up getting taken back and questioned by this crazy looking captain. And again, it's been so long and I'm going to butcher these names, but it's a Kuruichi or something like that. It's again been a while. But he is being and Kenny. He is being questioned and asked like about like the interaction between him and Ichigo, and he will not tell him anything, to the point where he's actually even saying like, and you know what, I got one more thing. I don't even know what he sounds like. I don't even know what he looks like. Barely saw him, barely heard him. I don't know anything.
Yeah.
And that's when Kenpachi, aka Kenny, comes in there.
Really? They call him Kenny?
Well, that's what his assistant captain called him.
That's cute.
Yeah, she calls him Kenny.
Kenny.
Comes in and he's like, yeah, okay, boss. Okay, captain.
Yeah, let me tell you what's actually going down.
He looked like this. His name was this. He had a big sword. He's going here. He wants this. And he's pretty strong.
You're going to have fun with him.
Yeah.
He's going to be a good time.
Yeah.
And now we get that crazy panel of him just like, where is he? Like so excited to fight.
Yeah. Kenpachi is such a cool character.
He's sick.
And I can't wait to see more of him, because we really don't in this part. And again, just the way we have to kind of break these up to be able to cover it as often as we do means that, we don't get much of him in this part, but in the next part we will get more of him. But I can't wait for that to happen. So he tells him everything. He tells him like, you're going to have fun with him. He's strong. It's going to be a good fight. And yeah. Kenpachi gets really excited about that. Their hostage that they've taken, Hanataro Yamada, takes them to
the most common, like the most boring name. That was so funny too.
That was so funny.
He's like, why are you just roasting me? Like, he's like, oh, I literally, that's the most basic ass name I've ever heard. I already forgot it. Like, what? Like, why? How rude? Like, they put him in this situation. They're being assholes. Like, insane.
It's so funny though, dude. Because they're like, maybe if it was like shortened and like this, but it's just like, it's too basic. I mean, it was hilarious. But since they are cleaners or whatever, he takes them to these underground passages, these like canals or whatever. These like sewers, basically.
Yeah.
It tells him that, he knows them so well because he's in charge of cleaning them, or his company is in charge of cleaning them. And it's going to lead them closer to the tower that Rukia is at. But what's really interesting about this moment is that when he reveals that he was the cleaner of Rukia's cell before she got moved. And
I mean, for Rukia being locked up, she's saying a lot of things.
Well, I mean, she does seem like, kind of like Rose on the Titanic, looking back, thinking, fondly, telling stories about Jack.
Yeah. Totally. She's like sitting there like, there's a boy with orange hair. Yeah, and he's like, okay, okay.
Yeah, she's in there knitting an Afghan or something like that. Knitting a blanket. Yeah. And she's talking about all these memories she had back on a place called Earth.
Okay, ma'am, Rukia. He's like sweeping.
Yeah, yeah. It is funny. But he says that when he first met her, he was like kind of terrified of her because she was not royalty, but he describes her
higher on the hierarchy, she's a family from a family of importance.
Yeah.
In Soul Society.
And he was really nervous, but he heard her speak, and she had a kind voice, and she was kind to him, and she kind of did, tell him all these stories about this boy with orange hair and all of her adventures that she had. And she said, she told him that she was also really sad. And he says she would always end these stories the same way. She would end them with a sad face, and she would say that, she's here, because of what she did, but that she feels guilty for like entangling his fate. And like she has forever sort of like ruined his life, or like changed the trajectory and the course of his life. And she will forever, feel guilty about that. And this pisses Ichigo off because he's like, what are you talking about? Like, you saved me. And he gets up and he storms off. And Ganju and Hanataro are like, is it something that you said? Is it something that I said? And he's like, no, dude, like, how can she feel that way? Like, I'm the one who should feel guilt and should feel, all of the things that I feel, because I'm the reason that you're locked up, that you're going to get killed, that all this stuff happened to you because you stuck your neck out to help me and my family when you didn't have to. And so that really gets him upset. And I like that because, Ichigo thinks everything is his fault. Yeah. And Rukia thinks everything is her fault.
Yeah. So they've met their match.
Yeah, they've met their match.
Yeah.
And he gets really mad, and this is what kind of energizes him and drives him, towards the tower, and they ultimately like kind of exit and are at the base of not necessarily the tower, but it looks like the building is sort of like leading up to the tower. And after that, that's when they are they see at the base of the stairs, they see Aburai Renji. And earlier there was a panel of some of the other assistant captains, and they had noticed that he had taken his armband off, the adjutant badge off, which is his, I guess, like, sort of like a symbol of rank or whatever.
And they needed to keep those on. They were instructed to keep those on.
And he discarded his, which is felt similar to like a soldier kind of going AWOL.
Yeah, yeah. And they kind of treated it like that too. They're like, where could he have gone to?
And they're like, let's keep this hush. But he goes there, and you kind of get that he's just kind of like on a mission now, because he is so, I think, tormented and tortured and torn between his relationship with Rukia and what his law and his captains and his superiors are telling him to do. And he's finally just so frustrated. He's like, I'm going to go handle this myself. And so he goes there and fights Ichigo. But what's different about this fight versus the last fight is that he says that because it is happening in Soul Society, that he is 5 times stronger, because when captains or assistant captains go to Earth, they don't want to cause too much havoc or change the course of anything. So they their powers have to be suppressed.
Which I liked. I liked that little tidbit too. I was like, that's an interesting little detail.
But you made a good point.
Oh yeah, like, so if his power, if his power is repressed, then like would Ichigo be stronger in Soul Society because of what he's learned? But it's like, is Renji suppressing his power? Or I mean, that would be the answer. Is something else is just like being in this other realm suppressing their power, or is it a thing that they're actively having to do? Because if that's the case, then when Ichigo does go to Soul Society, maybe he has, just like maybe, I don't know, Ishida can maybe harness more reishi, I think is what it's called, or like spirit energy, because maybe there's more around. Is he stronger in Soul Society? Like, I don't know. Are they all stronger because they're in Soul Society because of just like being more connected to this like spirit energy and being more abundant here? I don't know. But I thought that was interesting. Yeah, I was like, that's cool. Yeah, and we're getting like a lot of dialogue back and forth as they're fighting too. Like, and that was like an interesting thing that he says, like, as long as you live, Rukia, we'll never get her powers back.
Yeah,
that was like, wow. Like, that's when I kind of finally understood like the stakes of like what she actually gave to Ichigo.
Yeah. And so even if, you're reading this and you're thinking like, oh, maybe they will rescue her, maybe they won't rescue her. But, even if they do, she's never going to be, as long as Ichigo's alive, she's never going to be what she was before, which is like, dang, that is how you give a character and an action stakes. Their fight is kind of cut short a little here. We do see them start to fight. We do finally get to see more of Renji's Zanpakuto, Howl Zabimaru. And it's cool, just like extending ability. And then it cuts to a flashback that Ichigo had with Urahara when he was training, and Urahara just basically telling him to look at in Soul Society these moves that these Soul Reapers or these Shinigami that they do. And the more powerful the move, the less they'll be able to execute them. So, keep track of them and find an opening. So Ichigo thinks that he's figured it all out.
He's like, get ready. Yeah, he's being a little cocky too right now.
A little too cocky.
Yeah.
Goes in for the finishing blow, thinks he has it, and Zabimaru or Renji is able to, dodge and then use Zabimaru to just slice Ichigo down the front. But what we get here from him too, before this arc ends, or this section of this arc ends, what we get here too is Renji just asking him why he's so set on saving Rukia. And I think it's like Ichigo's like declaration or whatever, proclamation or whatever to Renji that like kind of it kind of feels like it shakes Renji a little bit because, Ichigo's saying that he's going to do whatever he has to do. And it's what he needs to do. And I think this kind of this answer kind of surprises Renji and kind of shakes Renji, and the intensity that Ichigo has and the emotion. And I think he can feel it. And he, for the first time, I think sees really how much, like, we don't fully understand or know how much Rukia means to Renji, but I think Renji, for the first time here, sees really how much Rukia means to Ichigo. And
well, he just sees it like from the opposite end because he's not able to like say all these things to Rukia out loud. So Ichigo's saying all this shit and he's like, wow.
Yeah.
Like he might feel the same way, but he doesn't convey it like at all.
Yeah. Like you're right. Maybe he feels like he can't say it. Yeah. And that's, really where this part of this arc ends. This arc, the sneak entry arc, is going to be split into 2 videos. This is part 1. There will be a part 2. Before we end the episode, Mehgan, is there any other, closing thoughts, anything that you're looking forward to or hoping to see in part 2 at all?
I would say obviously more of, I'm sure towards the end, the closing of Soul Society, where this, arc, he is going to team up with Renji at some point because they do have the same motivations, like what they want. Like obviously they don't want Rukia to die. He's going to help him out. I don't know to what extent, but he's definitely going to be involved somehow. I'm really looking forward to like seeing why Rukia is in the position that she's in, why they're doing it, why they're being sneaky about this thing, and like what it has to do, like how significant it is to the underlying like issues with Soul Society. And also just, seeing more cool Orihime, Chad moments and seeing these humans just like thrust into this world that, they're helping this friend out and, Rukia is their friend too. And just seeing how they all like work together, more and more is so exciting. And even like Bucket Hat, like, seeing more of his backstory and how he's able to, stay in between the 2 worlds. Like, what's that about? And there's just a lot of like interesting lore things that are happening right now that hopefully will be resolved at the end. Soul Society, this whole entry level. What is it? Entry rescue.
There's the entry, the sneak entry arc, which is going to be the next video that we're doing, and then I think there's another maybe more main Soul Society arc that we're going to be covering after that. So I really, to kind of second everything you said, I mean, obviously this is a story that I've already experienced, but again, it's been so long and there's so many things and details that I have forgotten, and it's been incredibly enjoyable every time we do one of these videos to sit down and re-experience and relive these, especially being in a different place, being older, and having had so much time pass. But to second what you said, I mean, I am so excited to rediscover everything that unravels. And really, want it to be something that you actively go out of your way to make sure you do not get spoiled, because in my memory, it was just it had such a fulfilling sort of payoff, and it was, it did all build up to this like really satisfying conclusion. And it was a emotional roller coaster, and I remember it that way in my mind and in my heart. And so I'm really curious to see if it holds up. So far, it has held up in every way. And even exceeded some of my expectations in terms of, like I said, the comedy and stuff, really just like making me laugh, I think, more than it ever had before. But I'm excited, and I'm having a blast experiencing it with you and you guys at home watching and listening. It's awesome.
It's so much fun.
Every other week to do this. Every other week.
Bleach.
And the reason we're doing every other week too is just to hopefully the idea is to hopefully be able to still get there. Get to the 1,000-Year Blood War arc by the time the anime comes out. So we'll either be there or we'll have already covered that. So that this acts or should act or will act as a refresher leading you up to the release of that.
Yeah, which is also amazing. Like I love especially when things get adapted or it's been a long time and it's kind of like completed and there's things that aren't adapted into anime, but then just years later, they're like, we're going to redo it. And then just gives, everyone else the opportunity to like reread it and like relive that. Like even with Chainsaw Man before the anime comes out, like I want to read all of it again and like get that refresher.
Yeah. And what's so cool, I think, about Bleach too, is that, you look at a series like Bleach and the manga and the art, because Kubo is fucking amazing. The art still holds up. So the manga is something you could still go experience and enjoy, I think, regardless of like when it was published. But the animation is dated. So it's kind of this cool thing of like, yeah, Bleach will never get reanimated. Like the whole series probably will never be reanimated. But it is cool to have had this like such a long gap, because it does mean that now we do get to see Bleach
in a new way,
reanimated in this more sleek, more just like fluid, like, I don't know, stylistic, like
what
it's
it deserves.
So exciting. Yeah. And what I mean, I wish it could have and would have always been.
And never say never.
Never say never, but
never
to get to see it at all is something I never thought would happen.
Yeah,
So
I didn't think
excited.
Fruits Basket was going to get reanimated. Here we are.
And that was amazing too.
Insane.
A beautiful and another satisfying ending.
Mm-hmm.
But that's going to do it for our part 1 sneak entry, Soul Society sneak entry arc, Dunkai part 1. A little bit of a mouthful. Thank you guys for watching and listening, especially if you've made it all the way to the end. The only thing we have to do before we go is thank our wonderful, beautiful, amazing, our Patreon members.
Thank you, guys.
You guys are amazing. It's because of you
Awesome.
guys that we're able to dedicate more time to cover more manga and to record and release more videos and more episodes for you to hopefully enjoy.
Yes. Hopefully.
Hopefully enjoy. It really is, because, we up the ante. We're covering One Piece every week. We're covering Bleach every other week, on top of wanting to still have a place on our channel to release an episode of what the name of our podcast is, Volume 1, discovering a new series each week. And so in order to do all that and to have the time to do all that, and to have the financial freedom to do other things less, to give this more time, it is all because of you guys and your support.
Yes.
And so everything that you give us, you donate to us, to our show, we are putting into our production value and putting it towards being able to free us up and give us more time to cover and make more videos for you guys. So it's really because of you guys that we're able to do everything and up the ante as much as we have been doing lately and want to keep doing.
Yeah.
So we really thank you a lot, and again, from the bottom of our hearts. And if you would like to become a Patreon member and get early access to all of our episodes, as well as access to our exclusive bonus Patreon podcast, Volume 1 Extra, which is a podcast where we talk about everything from life to other things, to anime and manga, but sometimes things that we are experiencing outside of anime and manga. Like one of our last Patreon episodes was an episode where we talked about The Batman. We kind of reviewed the movie and gave our thoughts sort of on the movie. Any and all of everything that kind of happens in our lives is what we cover in Volume 1 Extra, which is a Patreon and YouTube member exclusive podcast. So you get early access to all our videos, access to that extra podcast, and you get that at our lowest tier on Patreon and on YouTube. So if you would like to become a member of either and show your support, you could do that by going to patreon.com/volume1pod or clicking join on this video. But do not fear. If supporting financially is not in the cards for you right now, then Mehgan, tell them some other ways they can show their support. I was going to say some support, or I was going to say show some love and support. But I kind of stumbled on my words.
Anyway, if you don't have any money to spare, no worries, not a problem. You can support for free 99 all the time. If you join the Algorithm Gang today, you can comment a comment on any one of our videos. It can be a regular comment, a emoji, a period, comment, and it will act as a free tip to us and help our algorithm out immensely. It'll put our videos across the globe to more and more people, and it really helps us out, and that is free. You can do that on any one of our videos, obviously subscribe. Hopefully you are already, if you're this far into the video, if you liked it.
And share this with someone who likes Bleach too and is trying to, and is trying to get a little refresher before the anime comes out.
And that's all you can do to become a part of the Algorithm Gang today.
Gang.
Woo!
That's going to do it for another episode of what we are calling our Dun Kai series. The only thing left to do now is to get out of here on our outro that is always the same and never changes, which today is...
What is Unpacked episode?
I actually hated it halfway through, and then at the end, loved it.
You loved it?
Yeah.
Okay.
What a zombie-packed episode. I like it a lot, actually.
Thank you.
I judged it too quickly.
Yeah, you do that.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And until next time, what a
zombie-packed episode.
That was really good.
Yeah.
That was really good. That came out of nowhere. Sing it from the beginning.